Well, this weekend, some of the most talented local artists will have their work on display.
The Funky Ferndale Arts Fair starts Friday, and joining us now to talk about some of the pieces you'll be able to check out at the event is event coordinator Mark Loeb.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. I love that this is funky. You know, there are so many festivals and art fairs out there. This is a funky one.
That's exactly right, because there's, what, 100 art fairs in the course of the summer? We wanted something a little different and something that reflected Ferndale so that the vendors and the people who came out to see them would have some affiliation with the city.
Now, you bought a lot of great stuff with us. Now, show us what you have here.
Sure, this is a really cool piece. It's by the Cibulas. It's a guitar that's also a clock, and what I love about it is this is actually wood, but by the time they do the treatment and the finish, it looks almost too shiny, too new, too exciting for that. Unfortunately, you can't play it, but it does tell time.
It does that.
Stan Baker has been doing these little globes, and he actually has some that are over 2 feet large, and he'll have those. This one you were mentioning, it's a burled walnut, I think.
Yes.
It's basically put on a wood lathe, and you know, this is not your typical bowl.
It's gorgeous.
Well, how do you guys select? I mean, you have such a wonderful variety of pieces here, different textures. How do you select which artists or which pieces get brought into the fair?
Right, it's a different process in some ways than others because we're looking for something a little bit edgier. Our motto is that we're twice as funky as the average fine art fair, and the fine art fair is also an important part because it is a juried process. We have over 200 applicants, and we narrow it down to about 110, 120.
Okay, and so you have pieces. This is quite a colorful piece. It's quite beautiful. Can you tell us about this one?
Sure. Michelle Sapp is a local artist. She's been doing these dolls for just a short period of time in her life. They've really taken off. She has them at the DIA, all sorts of places. This is one of my favorite. It's a two-dimensional artist who has decided that he wants to go with a little bit more depth to it, so he's creating these shadow boxes.
I love that. And what about that on the end, this cone-shaped thing here?
Well, Kelly O'Neill's father used to be in my shows years ago, and now she is, which is so exciting to have the second generation. But I love what she's doing. She's not leaving the vessel plain. She's actually making it stand out, invite conversation, which is a lot of what our work does at the show. It doesn't sit behind your couch and sit there and just wait for somebody to notice it. Right. It stays out there and it says, hey, let's talk about me. Let's talk about how this means the owner is. Talk about what the relationships are.
Well, speaking of relationships, you guys have a relationship with the DIA. Tell us a bit about the interactive portion of this.
Sure. Well, the DIA is going to be out there doing some activities. And one of the things they wanted me to focus on was that they're inviting adults, not just kids, to come out and get their fingers dirty and play around. We also have Kobe Solomon, who's the gentleman that did the mural on the side of the Russell Industrial, 5 stories tall. You'll see it driving by 75. He and a few of the other street artists will be out there showing their technique and their styles. And these are guys that you've seen their work, but you probably haven't seen them because they don't come out that often.
That's really exciting. When you talked about the DIY, is there a particular place that people need to go if they want to take part in that?
Well, we've got the DIA, which is doing the interactive stuff. And then, believe it or not, there's an entire additional fair across Woodward on the other side of 9 Mile, and that's the DIY fair, which is aimed a little bit at younger people, a lot more music, beer, things like that. But that's going on at exactly the same time and later into the evening, of course.
So give us the particulars. When and where can we find all of these funky fine art?
Well, the Funky Ferndale Art Fair opens at 4 p.m. on Friday till 8 p.m. Then Saturday, 10 to 8, Sunday from noon to 5. And as I said, the DIY fair is on the other side, so they're open the same hours, but a little bit later into the evening.
Cost to get in?
Nothing.
Absolutely free.
Best
Fantastic.
part, right?
Absolutely.
You can focus on maybe taking home some of this beautiful art. All right, Mr. Love, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much.
When we come back, we're going to get you caught up with all this morning's top headlines.
Plus, we're going to let you know how